Hello YouTube, this is Jordan White, and today we have a very special guest here today. It's my grandmother, Pat Reaves. Otherwise, I like to call her Manna, because she's like a blessing from heaven. Like, you know how God in that story where the Israelites were wandering the desert and we were like, we're so tired, we need food, and God promised them a bread, manna from heaven, and I guess you could probably know the story. Some of these Christians do.
Oh, I do. It's an amazing thing when God gave them to them, and then when they were getting ready to go and cross over the Jordan River into Jericho, the manna stopped because He knew that they would be coming into the land that was flowing with milk and honey, and no longer would they need to have the manna. So God's timing of that was 40 years. God gave it to them just when they needed it, but He didn't last. He didn't go forever and ever.
Yeah. Right, so I got a couple of questions to ask Manna, because she's been quite a big influence in my life, along with other crucial members of my family. Alright, question 1. When did you first meet Pop? That's like my grandfather.
Well, I first met Pop when I was a freshman in college, and it was at Judson College in Marion, Alabama. He came up with a friend of his, and when Pop left Judson, he had told his buddy, he said, "That's who I want to marry." And so I would say that's when we met, and I moved back to Birmingham, and instead of Judson, I was going to Sanford. And then we finished our college education, and we got married. So that's when I first met Pop, and we've been together until he died.
Okay. What would you describe as your favorite car model from the 1950s? Because that was a very special decade for car design. Like the chromium plastic plate is a very classic piece of Americana.
Well, we had a little Volkswagen Bug, and it was just a super little car. That's I see it every time I see a Volkswagen on the road. I think, oh, that was such a fun time.
So they had like a new Bug from 2000, and then they released a newer version teased from a Super Bowl spot where it's like combining the new design with the old design. So it's like a throwback from the best of the classic stuff and the best of the newer stuff.
Right.
Alright, number 3. Do you have a favorite TV show from the first golden age of television, the 1950s and 1960s? Because, well, a lot of people like to describe today as like being a golden age of television, but you gotta remember, there was a golden age of television a long time ago, and 1950s, 1960s were part of that golden age. So, what's your response?
Well, the shows that I thoroughly enjoyed and would love to think that we could still have families that would enjoy having them in their home, with Mayberry series with Andy Griffith. And they were such a homespun, you didn't have to worry about the children watching it. They had everything clean and no language that was unkind. We didn't even talk to each other true and cruel ways. Where now you turn on some shows and they're just vicious. The Simpsons and some of these shows that are so, you wonder why do they make something like that and put it on TV to influence all these children that watch their shows.
Well, I probably think it's Satan's influence, or they're probably in it for the money.
They're in it for the money, that's exactly
Okay.
right, Jordan.
Okay, number 4. Were the 1960s rather rough on you? Because that was like a huge decade where it's like the turning point of America, where it's like people rebel, like values crushed, things, old people die off, and then a new generation comes in. That's what was going on back then.
Well, you know, that was, I guess maybe we were sort of spared from getting too involved in that decade, because we were both working. I was teaching school, Pop was in medical school, he was studying hard, and we really were very busy to have to take care of our studies and training. And so it was a time that we knew it was going on, but it was just something that we couldn't grasp quite how influential it was going to turn our nation. And so we just had to really work so hard that we didn't really have that influence affect us. Like pretty soon we had 2 little children, and they were during that period of time, and so we were just real busy and didn't have time to pay attention to what was going on.
Okay. All right. What were some great places that you took Mom to during her childhood? I mean, I believe I've been to some of those places before.
Well, she probably, one trip we took my sister and her 2 boys, and then I had 4 children, and we were going to go out and see my sister. She lived in Texas, and so we got in the car and drove out there, and the kids had a great time playing with their cousins, and we'd get on the road, and sure enough, if we ever let Patty get into the front seat, she would be so nervous about the cars on the interstate and fast speed and passing somebody. Woo! She'd squeal and scream and scare everybody in our car, but she enjoyed the trip though. Yeah. So, and we didn't take a lot of trips because we didn't have time or money to do it. But that was one that she really, we will never forget.
Well, of course. All right. Do you have any favorite moments or lessons from the Bible? I have mine.
I guess I think about Solomon, and I think about how wise he was, and God gave him some ideas to remember, and one of the things it was teach you to walk in his ways, and don't lean on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him. And so if Solomon had paid attention to those words and stayed with them all the time, but you know what he did? He married and had hundreds of wives, many more concubines, and as a result of that, they pulled his heart away from God, and in the end, he had his part of the kingdom taken away from him. So if you just, you can't, you have to run the course all the way through to the end, and don't ever try to pay attention to what you understand, but you obey and lean on him and let him direct your path.
Right. Okay. You and Mom never gave up on me when I had autism. What would you say to another mother who is struggling with parenting a child with autism?
Well, there's so much more now that was available that wasn't, and so much we have learned to understand but hadn't really deciphered, that I would encourage you to say, if you didn't know what was wrong with your child, that you would take him and don't give up working with him and talking to him and teaching him and doing therapy with him, and that way you can help him understand how to adjust and live in a world that's different than he is. But he would always have to struggle, but there would be somebody around that would help teach him and train him and explain to him what he needed to be doing. And that, I think, is what that both parents are doing, and their aunts and uncles and grandmothers. We all work together to try to teach Jordan and train him, and it paid off, because he has amazed people to find out that he has attended school all the way through. He was in a classroom with other boys and girls, and ultimately had gone on to college. And sure enough, if he's not been given a dramatic gift from God to be able to work with the technologies of today, and God really did help to direct his path. And so you don't give up. You just keep on trying and struggling through the process. You never know what kind of a special person your child might end up being.
Right. So I've I've been on this earth for the past 25 years, but you've been on earth for longer than me, obviously. What has made your life special over the past 25 years?
Well, let's see, during these last 25 years, I have gone from having married my husband, but then we had our family. We had all of our 4 children, and we've had so much fun growing up with those children and learning to see how wonderful it is to take what God's given you and to use it and to develop and foster your family so that they would have a relationship with each of their brothers and sisters. And sure enough, they've grown to be close to one another, and I think that they really love each other, and we just have a wonderful time together. And so I would encourage you to think of that and know the time will come on, but it will be a time that you will find that you have enjoyed so very, very much, because it's full of rich memories that you'll never forget.
Yeah, my life's been special over the past 25 years. Even you're one of the reasons why my life is so special. Thank you, Grandma.
Thank you, Jordan. You are special to us, that's for sure, and we are so very proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you
right.
for this wonderful time together.
And thank you for joining us.